So we are live, Dr. Swati.
Thank you, Dr. Satish. And welcoming again everyone who has joined us today. This is Saturday morning. Most of us, you must be busy with other work, but thank you for taking out time and joining us in this very important session, a very interesting session also on building brand women in pharma. And welcoming all those who are watching us live at LinkedIn and Facebook also, YouTube also. So, just a few days back, we all celebrated Women's Day, and that day we didn't hold any sort of discussion or session because that is a working day. People were very busy celebrating at their offices and all. But this topic has to be taken very seriously, and a long discussion is due. This discussion is on building brand women in pharma. We all have our colleagues. Women have joined today, men have joined today. So I'm saying you all have your colleagues of opposite gender who are in your teams, and you have seen the ratio, the gender ratio also that is there in the pharma related to pharmaceutical genders. So I'll not say much about upon this topic today, but as the series, we are bringing you this as a series, and as this series builds up, we will be having few opinions also, few strong opinions also, which we will share. Today we have with us on this topic Ms. Gauri Chaudhary, one of our mentors at Pharma State Academy, and a very revered person, respected and known person in pharma circles. And who better to start this series with? So I'll just take you quickly through Ms. Gauri's work. She's a healthcare and a pharma brand strategist with over 27 years of experience in healthcare, marketing, advertising, and branding. She is also serving as communication advisor at IPA. She specializes in insight mining, customer and patient journeys, formulating differentiated healthcare brands, brand lifecycle management, media strategy, coaching, and training. And one of the most loved books in pharma, the Amazon bestseller, The Perfect Pill, 10 Steps to Build a Strong Healthcare Brand. She's also the author of the same. Well, her perspectives is very important when I talk about women in pharma, especially in India. Why? Because she headed the healthcare businesses of FCB Ulka Advertising and handled assignments for India's top healthcare companies, including GSK, Cipla, Abbott, Pfizer, Dr. Reddy's, and Johnson & Johnson. She was head of operations, India operations for the global team of Draft FCB Ulka Healthcare, New York, USA. And since she has had that stint, that is why I'm saying the perspective of Ms. Gauri would matter a lot today when we start this discussion on women in pharma. She has been associated with different genres of healthcare brands such as prescription medicines, OTC brands, medical devices, surgical brands and hospitals, and also has handled prescription to OTC switches for India's most celebrated prescription brands. She taught pharma marketing course at NMIMS for 10 years and has been associated with B schools like IES, SIES, MET, and SPJMI. And qualification, well, that doesn't need to be mentioned, but she's a B.Pharm MBA and enjoys writing and teaching in her spare time. So welcoming Ms. Gauri on this session. And before we start this session, why we bring in these sessions and discussions, that is answered in our video for Pharma State Academy. So Satish would request to play the video first, and then we start the discussions. Thank you so much. So welcome Gauri ma'am, and welcome all the dignitaries who have spared their time to attend this session. I'll request you to participate in this session also, be interactive, because we have kept a lot of time for interactions in this session also. So Gauri ma'am, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Swati, and so happy to be part of this wonderful subject, the topic, very close to my heart. And I want to thank everyone who has taken out time on Saturday morning. I was told that Saturday morning is not one of the right days to do a session, but as I have decided to take off on Sundays, and Saturday happens to be the only day, I insisted with Pharma State that let's do it today, and I'm so glad that they agreed. And I'm so happy to see, good number of people have taken out time and they're part of it. So thank you so much for your kind words, and thank you everyone for joining this session. And yes, let me just add, please feel free to ask questions, discussion, because this is one topic that deserves a lot of discussion, openness, transparency, and speaking mind out. So do stay till the end and do ask questions and do share your comments and your opinions and your views. All of us are learning together.
Thank you, Gauri ma'am. So let us start the session with a poll, right, ma'am?
Absolutely.
Let us take just an insight into how people in pharma perceive pharma. So Satish, can we run the poll? So I hope it is visible on the screens. What do you think? How many girl percentage is there in pharma colleges? Is it 68%, 32, 10%, 45%? How many girls would be there in pharma colleges? Please participate. So we have a good number of people. 46% saying it could be somewhere around 32%. 22% are okay. The figures are changing. So Satish, can we now end the poll?
Yeah, sure. I'm sharing the result. Yeah.
So most of people here think that 32% is the percentage of girls in pharma colleges. 43% are saying that, and rest, you will say, ma'am, 50% are 24% are saying 68% women are there in the pharmacology. Only 24% think so. 75% think it is less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's move to the second one. So one more poll is there. Please participate.
Okay, we saw about the colleges, how many girls enter the pharma colleges. Now you have to give us your views on how many women or girls are in pharmaceutical industry. That means how many women switch from being a student to being a professional in pharma industry. Okay, we have choices: 11%, 4%, 37%, or 25%. How much is the percentage of women in industry?
Please participate. Yeah. So we'll close at 1 minute. Few more seconds. Okay, I'm sharing the result. So here it is.
Okay, so maximum 25%. They think 39% people here think that 25% is the percentage of girls in pharmaceutical industry. And okay, the largest 37%, only 19% think that there are 37% women, and rest all are thinking below that. So Gauri ma'am, give us the right answers.
So as per, data, it shows that in metro cities, at least not the rural town data, there are 68% girls are there in colleges, so the ratio is kind of tilting towards women. So we have outnumbering women or girls in colleges. Whereas the data that shows in pharma industry, we have 11% women. So where it is a small minority. So if you see the number of women who are entering into colleges, they were much more, which are almost outnumbering men, whereas in the industry, there are only 11%. And when we see sector-wise, there are 17% of R&D comprises of women, and only 5% of sales and marketing is comprising of women. So if you see that even 11%, which is an average, is coming into the existence because 70% is represented by R&D. So the question is, where are our girls? The question is, have we lost them? And that's a bigger question for everyone to answer, because in a very sound society, this question needs to be discussed and debated. So, Swati, this is slightly less heartening.
This is very, surprising that we have women in colleges, in pharma colleges also nearing 68%. That is more than 15%. And then at the industry level, we see only 11%. And after that, you shared that data that in sales and marketing, it's only 5%. So out of 100 men in pharma, in sales and marketing roles, you have only 5% of females. So that is really a data which needs to be discussed. But you are, Gauri ma'am, among those 11%. You were there with the companies in these departments, and you have worked with your colleagues, women colleagues also, male colleagues also. So what actually kept you going in this industry despite this skewed ratio?
Oh, Swati, I mean, I never knew I was part of this 11%. And honestly speaking, part of this 5%, I never knew it. So that's always heartening. Also, when one looks at this 5% sales and marketing, you also see that there's huge opportunity for women to go and kind of, be part of that world. So I had absolutely no clue. So, I mean, just to narrate my story, because sometimes I wonder, how things happened. I'm talking about 27, 30 years back. There are hardly anyone who was entering into sales and marketing. But after doing B.Pharm, I decided to do MBA. And after doing MBA, I decided to be naturally in marketing, because we were taught, the 4 subjects of 4 specialization. And one of them was marketing. I thought I really love it. And I became part of it. And to cut a long story short, actually, as I got campus recruitment in Nicholas, that time it was not Piramal, it was Nicholas. And I was put into the field, and I was given one dabba of Aspro, So they had this globe-shaped dabba in which Aspro was put, and my job was 250 strips in that one globe. And my job was to go and sell it to the chemist. That was my job. So you're out from your MBA college and you're put into, market. But I don't know how I enjoyed it. Whereas everyone around me was saying, oh, after doing MBA, what is she doing? She's carrying these big dabbas, because they used to look very odd. A young girl carrying big box in the hand and going chemist to chemist. So my parents were worried, but that's okay. And I realized I was enjoying it. And, I used to meet, so I traveled to Aurangabad, and I used to go to small chemist shops, and they would say, oh, poor girl, she's walking. But still they would say, come, they would give me time. And sometimes they would offer me lunch, because around lunchtime they're free, or they are free between afternoon time. So I would go and give it to them and ask them, would they want to buy it? And they would say 250 Aspros, who will buy? And they wouldn't buy, but still there was fun. And they used to share a lot of things, their stories. We used to have sometimes lunch together, and it was fun. And end of the month, it was very surprising that I used to cross my targets. So even when I wasn't selling, my targets were achieved by talking to them and, kind of having lunch with them, or just sitting around in hot sun and not going out immediately to the next shop. From there, moved to marketing, because, as a trainee, you work in the field and you get absorbed in product management. Life was beautiful. Because once again, the job was to work on the brand at that young age, move around the country, meet medical representative, meet lots and lots of doctors. And again, I realized I really enjoy it. My MR would say, oh, how did the doctor say all this to you? He never said it to me. And he said it to you. And I was like, yeah, I mean, good that, we were talking, but they said, no, listen, I mean, you also have to help me in selling our brand. And I would say, yeah. But let me first listen to him. What is he saying, he or she? I mean, most of the times up country, it used to be all he's I used to meet. And it was fun again. So things were going pretty well. I was handling prothidin at one point, and I remember I used to go to doctors and I used to kind of talk to them about various issues in mental health. And I can't name the doctor, he is in 𝐏𝐡𝐚𝐽. But one day he just cried, and he was feeling so sad about mental health being not taken seriously. He was feeling that how patients don't understand how, mental health is an issue, and how he was struggling. He said, despite doing so much in this field, I'm struggling, and he wanted to work in the area of biomarker. And I would say, yeah, what can I do? And we started creating lovely patient education material, which was not education, actually education, but it was hinting at, what mental health is and things like that. And it was fun. And the first thing happened in my life that, I delivered a baby, and I actually felt now I have two things I really love. One is that little baby at home, and another is my career, or rather my job, because I didn't look at it as career, I want to go somewhere. I was enjoying the journey. So at that time, we were giving 80 days leave, 40 days before you deliver a baby and 40 days after you deliver. So, and you have to take that 40 days before. So I kind of try to request HR that, give me time, 80 days after. I can come prior to that, but the policy wasn't such, and I was not allowed. And I had only 40 days. So with that little baby, on 39th day, I keep my clothes ironed for the next day morning office. I tell everyone, I had support system. So I tell everyone at home that, look, I'm going tomorrow. And at 10:30 in the night, I have cold feet. I couldn't leave that 40-day baby, actually 39 days old baby at home, and just go next day for complete 8 hours job and 2 hours of commuting and 10 hours being away. I just couldn't do it. So what do? I just dial my boss's number. I call him and I say, look, I'm leaving. And he says, what's wrong with you? So says, and we were in touch, of course, on those 39 days. I was saying, I'm coming, I'll come. I have support system, I have everything, and I'm coming. And on 39th day, I call him. I say, I can't come. I say, what's wrong? And he said, that doctor, that psychiatrist is still remembering you. We have to do so much more for cycle 3. That time, like those promotional cycle, and come, ye to hona hi hai, come, kuch nahi, we'll adjust. And I was like, look, I can't come. And he realized what I was saying this very seriously. And he just gives the line to his wife and he says, okay, talk to her. I don't know what you're saying. You just talk to her. She was a working lady. And there I realized the importance of sisterhood. She comes and she says that, oh, are you mad? 39-month-old baby and you're leaving and coming? Oh, just ask him to give you, leave for some more. And when I go back to my boss again on the phone, he says, look, I can't give you leave. If at all you want, try for without pay, and if that may work. And I said, okay, theek I'll go without pay leave. And they were really accommodative. So 6 months I was out of job, and every time I wasn't sure whether I would join back or I wouldn't, but they were kind of, okay, whenever you're ready, you come back. And that was a very supportive kind of atmosphere was there. I went back after 6 months, but honestly speaking, I couldn't travel much. As a brand manager, you need to travel. And then because they were very, very accommodative, nice organization, they gave me places which were close by. So I used to go to Aurangabad once again, Nasik, Pune, these kind of places for my field work. But I realized it's not going to work for very long. And mother in me was not letting me go out. So it was more of my internal conflict. And then I left that and moved to advertising. But luckily, advertising worked out fantastically well for me. I went to advertising just because I didn't want to travel out of Mumbai, and they were offering me flexi hours. But it was a wonderful thing, once again, going and talking to customers and pitches. And, I still remember somebody told me that when you talk to customers, you say they said this, but they didn't say it. And I said, no, they said it. And then we would create concepts for checking, and I would put what I thought I heard in the concept, and the concepts would win, thumping, on the relevance, uniqueness, and believability. And I would tell my colleague that, look, they said it, I heard it. And now when we are putting it in concept, we are getting 5 on 5. So somewhere I thought I had that ability to kind of hear those so-called insights. And then, of course, later on, to get more freedom from, a very structured format, started my agency. And that's how I survived. But honestly, it's not easy if you don't have supportive, family, if you don't have supportive organization, if you don't really know how you want to head ahead, it does become difficult. So Swati, long story short, before people start getting bored of personal stories, my career is built with at least 3 breaks and 1 solid sabbatical. So that's how, my 27 years have been.
Wow. Thank you for this sharing, Gauri ma'am. Most of the women have such stories, but they are not getting a platform to share or speak up. So you spoke about it, and your journey has been quite nice. It's your journey. You have enjoyed it, but there are many women who have to leave. So what do you think are the major reasons, Gauri ma'am, why women leave? Largely, they are leaving from 68% to 11%. What is happening here in this space? 57% women.
Yeah. So basically, if we are talking about jobs, and largely here we are talking about corporate world. So in corporate world, the systems are designed for majority of the members, and the majority is male. So the systems, in terms of the timings of certain kind of work, the kind of, the job descriptions are, they're designed where they suit a particular gender. I mean, it's basically male gender, because they probably wouldn't know what are the problems women would be facing. To give you an example, I was looking at one statistics, and I saw that maximum drop in jobs has happened during the work from home, and majority of that class or those people are women. So actually somebody will say that work from home should be the fantastic thing for women. But actually the statistic shows that women, not only in India, women across the world have left their jobs. Now the reason is, for a woman who is working from home is working for the house, because majority responsibility is shared by her, and she's working for the office. And there is no bifurcation like, okay, you are in the office, so someone else would be doing some jobs at home. But it doesn't happen. When you're working from home, you're supposed to be doing both. So the designing of the entire structure, the way work happens, is unknowingly, I'm not saying very intentionally, it is done around men. And therefore, women find it difficult to actually accommodate themselves in that. So women have to design structures which are also conducive to their growth. And we can discuss about it slightly later as we move, but it is mainly having biological clock and the career clock going simultaneously, and not having adequate supports, and not having adequate structure which is designed for her in the corporate world, actually takes a toll.
Okay. So the structure, here you are saying that the structure needs to have some flexibility or be designed by women colleagues for them to join and feel comfortable during their corporate stints, also their careers also. So there could be an argument here, Gauri ma'am, that if they are not suitable for the jobs designed currently, so, and still the work is getting done, but why should women be an integral part? Why will anyone consider that women should be an integral part of these teams? Jobs are still getting done by male colleagues. So why woman perspective here matters?
Yeah. It's a very important question. And the answer to this question is that researchers after research, and I have a couple of slides after we talk about it, we find that if a particular team has a good gender balance, the performance, the effectiveness, and the return on investment for that task increases multifold. If we have women in group of sales teams, suppose you have 50% women and 50% and 50% male, you actually see the performance growing by several folds. Now, when one gender dominates the team, there will always be an issue. And I'm talking about research done by Harvard School. I'm talking about MSCI, where they have actually studied groups larger than 1,000, and they have realized that those which are well balanced on gender perform a lot better. So on one hand, if you're losing out on a women candidate, companies have to realize they are missing out on their objectives. They probably the achievement would be a lot better. And if you see that, I mean, one is not saying it should be 100% one gender, 100% another gender. One is talking more about diversity. And since today the topic is diversity of genders, I'm talking about specific studies done for the genders. So if you see your organization wants to grow, if you see your organization has to achieve its objective, try and have good gender balance. That's on one side. Second, as a society, when you teach your girls to study hard, to do well, to tell them sky's the limit, and when they go up and they hit the glass ceiling, and they suddenly realize, oh my God, I have to choose between my family, my child, and my promotion, they sometimes take up responsibility of family and the childbearing. And if that is the case, they actually don't use their potential to the fullest. And that has definite toll on themselves. So 50% of our population is not utilizing its potential fully and doing something what they're not trained for. You're trained for getting highest marks in math, but you are not trained for doing certain things which require to be, a mother or to be a particular family role playing person, then there is a conflict. And that conflict can harm women. And therefore, from both the sides, it's very important for her personal journey and for corporates that we must have good balance of men and women. Otherwise, we are doing disservice to the society and to the corporate world.
Right. To put this in a different manner, Gauri ma'am, we had this discussion earlier also with you, maybe in some closed session, but some a senior person who is hiring a candidate, a female candidate, and a male candidate resume reaches him for the same position with the same qualifications. Everything is same there. Now, why will a boss, or for that matter, a manager, choose a male, or he should choose that female? What biases creep in, or what is the solution here?
Yeah. So Swati, if it is okay, I can share my small PPT, and this question gets answered there with very clear data. Okay. So I will just share maybe, roughly 20 slides. And what we can do is have an open discussion around these topics so that how we can, actually get women. But just to answer your question, just in one word, the soft skill set that women bring, it's way different from the soft skill set that men get. And because, you may have two very similar CVs, but the results those two CVs will provide, just because they are different gender, are going to be different. So what I will do, I'll just show you a few slides. Tell me if they are visible, and we'll once again come to this question. So is my slide visible?
Yes.
So first and foremost, it is important for women to build their brand. Why brand? Because we know brands bring value, and we know that customers actually love brands which provide that value. So if women is a brand, and if this brand provides value, Tell me, Swati, that person who sees two CVs will not actually compare man versus women, but that particular person will actually see the values which women as a gender we bring. Okay, and I'm talking about, you know, women in large as a gender, as a segment, because though we are performing a lot more, it's not seen. So once they start seeing it, probably this question will not come. Now, some of us might not be very happy with the word that branding women, branding men, and branding people. But okay, there is no escape from, you know, all this, because today all products, services, people, calamities, everything is branded. I mean, you know, today we have hurricanes and typhoons being branded. We have people like, say, Amitabh Bachchan, Malala, you know, Greta, all of them are branded. Also, we brand, you know, our chai wala, say, oh, wow, that chai wala, na, the one who is bald, you know, let's go to him. Or the one who has good mustache, oh, muchad pan wala acha hai. Why does it happen? Because anybody who has a name, anybody who is identifiable, and anybody who brings value, we start looking at them as brand. And therefore, brand is not a kind of derogatory if someone thinks that it's not such a good you know, way to describe a person. But yes, all of us are brands in our own right. And therefore, our gender is a brand in its own right. Now, it's very interesting that men and women, we all are equal. We always talk about equality. We talk about being almost the same. But well, of course, all of us know, and a lot of us are pharmacists here, or doctors and biological science people. We know we are different, and we are different with different soft skill sets. Why? Because there's something called estrogen-driven mindset, and there is something called testosterone-driven mindset, and a lot is written on it. There is a lot written on it. There are researches that have happened, and how does it changes our soft skills? So there's this very important thing, and this comes from you know, a book written on this gender difference, which is a woman's sense of self is defined through her feelings and the quality of her relationship, whereas man's is defined by achieving his results. Women are motivated, empowered, and feel when they feel cherished, whereas men are motivated and empowered when they feel needed. Women need to be listened to, and when they are unhappy and disappointed, they just like to talk. So a lot of people say women talk. Yes, but when they have a problem, they talk about it. That makes them feel better. Whereas men particularly, for them it's very difficult to talk, or difficult for a man to listen to a woman when she's unhappy, disappointed, because he feels it like a failure. And also, you know, when men are silent, women imagine worst and try to make them talk about their problems. And when men have problems, they need to withdraw themselves, be silent. And the last thing they want is to talk about their problems. Now, this comes from a book called Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. And how are they different? But the question is, you know, how does it matter in a corporate world? So what happens is basically men and women, because they are so different in a certain way. And here, let me put a disclaimer. We are not stereotyping. I mean, there is no harm. A woman sounding, looking, reacting, behaving very differently from a typical women mindset, absolutely no problem. And that's perfectly fine. Here one is talking about large researches and what has come out of those research. So I saw very interestingly, you know, how do women and men look at the world? So there was this very interesting research that happened, and it has been depicted very beautifully here, which says that women see colors, you know, and they see so many colors. Like they don't have a simple red. They have scarlet, they have dark red, they have wine red, they have plum red, and violets, they have multiple color. Whereas men look at world in a very bucketed format, and they have just, you know, standard few colors. I mean, this particular insight was so beautifully used by Asian Paints. If you remember that particular ad where the woman comes and say, mera wala red, you know, and when you're painting your house, you're actually showcasing your personality, and a woman wants her color, and man absolutely can't see beyond, you know, top 7 colors. And that's how, this particular mindset, this particular anatomy, physiology makes women look at things, multiple things very differently. Now, this is again a bit of stereotype, but this is how women's desktop is supposed to be and a man's desktop, table, supposed to be. Now, I don't have such clean desk ever. So I don't belong to this category of clean table. But well, the research shows that women are more organized in keeping things. These are the computer desktops. Men apparently don't have much on their, on their laptop screen, whereas women will have buckets of various information, somewhere family agenda, somewhere, office agenda, somewhere something that they need to do to keep the social contacts and the family and relative, maybe. But once again, no stereotyping. This is how men and women, probably differ because of their physiological differences. And that's what, largely research says. How do they shop? This was very interesting in that one particular research, how women shop shampoo. So she looks at effectiveness, brand, aroma, effect on hair, ingredients, bottles of, bottle of the color in which it is packaged. For men, life is very simple. How men pick a shampoo? They say, I think it had shampoo written on the label, though I'm not sure, it must be shampoo, I bought it. That's how largely they men and women differ. And these are just top few points I looked at. Go deep down and you'll realize very different soft skills are attributed to genders. So Swati, you had this question, why should somebody, recruit a woman? Basically because what kind of skills she brings are driven by empathy. Empathy is so unique. So when two CVs come to you, and if your job requires certain kind of empathy, and which I think there's nothing in the world which doesn't, call for this skill, you will largely see that women's estrogen-driven soft skills have empathy as one of the important component in the basket. Caring is something which is very close to women, and therefore, generally in teams, women do care for the team members because of their empathy, their listening skills. They listen to them better, and they are not doctor fix it, so they don't just go and fix the problem, but they go below the layers of problem to understand why certain things are happening. Relationship, very largely important to them. Communication, particularly when it comes to verbal communication, women are supposed to be several steps ahead of men. And let me repeat it again with this disclaimer, I'm not stereotyping here. Here, I'm just talking about the research which has come out and which talks about, certain skill sets which are very often seen in women. There will be equally contradictory researches there also, but that doesn't matter. What one is saying that these are some of the very key traits a gender would have. And very commonly, sincerity. When a task is given, a woman does it to the fullest. A smoke break and a tea break and 10 minutes chatting is probably less attributed. Of course, there are a lot of chatting happens, but in terms of sincerity, women tend to score a little higher than men. Quantification is a trait of testosterone. Quantifying things, getting numbers in order, looking at things in a very rational and objective way is what is attributed to a testosterone-driven skill set. Networking. Men are supposed to be extremely good at networking, and they generally would get their information and certain things which are very important for the business, they get it through this networking. Visual and spatial memory. Now, this is a very important thing. A man generally has a visual memory and a spatial memory a lot more. What happens is that they probably know where things are, how to navigate in a very on a map in a very geographical context. It's very, very easy for a man. And that's again, no disclaimer here. There is no stereotyping here. Risk taking. it has been observed that at certain times women debate a lot before they take a particular kind of a decision. Men are a lot more risk takers and going ahead. And the entire sense of conquering and winning, maybe even sometimes, which might not be really true in the context, for him, it is very important, maybe even at the cost of someone else's loss. Whereas a woman feels very, very different when someone else loses and she wins. So there are dynamics here. And this is the book which has put it up front, but at the same time, there are enough researchers which have happened on gender skill set, which are very different from each other. So you may have two CVs with the same qualification, same experience, same salary expectation. Yet when you're hiring a woman or when you're hiring a man, you will get very different skill sets. And therefore, you would get very different results. And just saying that, I have two CVs and a woman will make me, she may have certain, certain breaks in her career. Maybe I can't send her to remote places. I would say, bear it. Still go that extra mile, because what she will bring to the table will be unique to her gender. And therefore, it might be still worth doing so. So, I mean, just to take this point, the other day, my friend was talking to me. He said that, I had a position for a candidate, and the person was to go to the remote area in Maharashtra. And I thought, I would do injustice to her if I take her on job because, the safety kind of issues. And my answer, instant answer was, if she is ready, you be ready. If you need to do one extra thing for her, please do it, because she's going to bring something different to the table. If she is passionate, you don't go back, because one, she deserves it, two, she wants it, and three, if it needs to take one extra step to ensure her security, do it. You will see difference in your numbers, in your objectives. And that's what women as a brand together have to make the world realize. And the same is the case with men. I mean, even when men come to table, they also have to brand themselves probably to say what they bring to the table. So it's important that we talk about diversity, we talk about differences, and we cherish those differences and we respect those differences, instead of saying that a woman candidate is a burden on me. She will never ever be. And that's the promise I think I can give, and every other woman out there can give. So largely, I was talking about these studies, Morgan Stanley's study, we said that teams with an equal gender mix perform better than male-dominated teams in terms of sales and profits. Teams with lower percentage of women have lower sale and lower profits than teams with balanced gender mix. Harvard Kennedy School says that profits increase as the share of women increases up to 50%. For higher share of women, the relation then with the profit and share may go flat. So one is not saying that, go beyond 50%. One is not saying that dominate one gender with the other gender. That's not the idea. The idea is to have good mix of skill sets. And the genders do bring different types of skill sets. So in my book, because I talk about 10 steps to build brand, my humble, my appeal to everyone is that we have to build this brand called women. All of us together, men and women together, have to build this brand. And this brand will get built when all the women also look at the personal brand of their own. So at individual levels, we have to build our brand. And at a gender level, the brand has to build by all of us, the men, women, and every one of us. So how do we do that? So brand brings value. So what is that value women is going to bring? And very importantly, who is the customer? So when we are saying brands bring value to customers, who is the customer? We know for sure that any customer who gets value wants to stay with that brand. We know there are several people who actually go ahead and to look for their brand. So it could mean that traveling for miles if that brand is otherwise not available, but that is the value brand has. So how do you get this value? You get the value from the fact, and one simple, one answer to this simple question. Answer is difficult, question is simple. The question is, what is it customers really want? My brand can honestly offer, but my competitor can't. And therefore, it's all about knowing our customer, knowing our brand, and knowing our competition. So like I said, for a woman who is working in an organization or having her own, little outfit for, her own business, who is my customer? So for a person who is working in an organization, the customer is the organization. Maybe if you have your own setup, then your potential clients are your customers. And if you're a student, then your employers are your customers. And therefore, when you answer this question, what is it my customer really wants? The question is, what is it my organization really wants? So we know that every corporate has its mission, vision, its goal. Do we know that? And more importantly, all of it is not said just in these statements. There's a lot in between. What they say, what they do, what organization does, how the organization thinks or how the organization feels. What are the gains? What are the pains? These are the things one has to dig below the surface. So what are those trouble points for my organization? And therefore my bosses, my colleagues, my associates, we must know that. And then what are the gains? What are they looking at? Once you know that, just make a list. And once you know that, next step is to know yourself. That's so important. What are my strengths as a person? Because I can't give value or I can't create customer value based on my weaknesses. It has to be my strengths. And therefore, it's important to know everybody's strength. What are you good at? What is it you do effortlessly while others struggle doing it? And this question is so critical because this is your zone of passion. There would be certain things which would give happiness to you. You would enjoy it and you say, oh, I did it so easily. While others find it difficult. Oh my God, how is it? For example, some of you might be excellent at going and standing on the dais and speaking to thousands of people. You do it so easily and you take, you enjoy it. And you will see there are a lot of people who have stage fright. You may find that you're very good at sales. You go and talk to people, you sell something and you enjoy it. And you'll find some others who find it difficult. I'm saying it's not that you should not work on your weaknesses, but if something is your strength, believe me, that will be your passion as well. So important to know what is it. Making a list of things which are required, a list of skills that are required for your job, and segregating them and saying that, okay, my job requires these 10 skills, but you know what? This one particular skill, I think I naturally have. I do it very effortlessly. Make a list of that. And that special skill that you have will be unique to you. So there's no need to compete. Maybe someone is very good at networking. They go out in the evening at 6 o'clock, they network, they know so much about the organization, which you don't know because maybe you have to leave at sharp 5:30, catch a bus, reach home, take care of family. But that's okay. You don't have to stretch because you're sure of the strength you have. You're going to build the customer value based on that strength. And that's very important. Next is ask people. If you don't know your own strength, it makes absolute sense. You ask others. You will know so much. So Johari window is the best thing to do here. Next is know your competition. Competition is the wrong word. I've just taken it because in my book, I talk about brand building and understanding competition. Here, we are not talking about competition, but that another CV, which might not be, of your gender, that's where one is saying that what is it that other CV is offering? If you're, running for the promotion, what is it that your colleague is offering? And therefore, what is it probably that your colleague can't offer? So focus on the weakness of the competitor because your value cannot come from that person's strength. Be aware of your weaknesses, be aware of your competitor's strength. But the point is, the value comes from your strength and someone else's weakness because you're delivering the value. And what is it that I can do, but they can't? And that's exactly where the point of differentiation comes. And that's why when you put this mapping, make a list, do the mapping. Brand is yourself, your customer is your organization, and point of difference between you and your competitor or your colleague. And then answer this question: what is it my customer really want? What is it my organization really want? My brand, that is myself, can honestly offer, but my competitor can't. And that's the value you create. And that will be your personal brand as a woman. And collectively, that will be the brand built by women as a gender. So we always say that there should be a positioning statement. I'll quickly run through it. And that's basically for my company, maybe the brand manager, or I, the sales representative, or I, the director marketing, provide something. And that's my strength, what I provide. Unlike others who focus only on and find out this POD here, point of difference. So that what is the end benefit to my organization? What's the end benefit to my customer? And that's what, if you list, you would get your own value proposition. So just to give an example, for my company, XYZ, I, Anika, maybe my name, I'm a brand manager, provide key customer insights. Unlike others who focus only on pushing brands to HCPs by going and meeting them, maybe multiple times, I can't do it, but that's great. They are achieving result by meeting HCPs multiple times. But I'm good at listening and I'm good at customer insighting. So I write my strength. What happens as a result of it? So that my company brands can develop communication that is instantly liked by HCPs and patients. Just a very hypothetical example. But the point I'm making is that find your strength and don't copy others because they are doing, because maybe as a gender, there are certain advantages your colleagues may have, and they will achieve results through their strengths. You have to achieve your results within the norms given by organization, within the set rules, but in the end benefit has to be to the customer, who is the organization, and how my strength can match it. And that's the point I'm making. This is another example, and we can talk about it. It's about how somebody builds stories, and that's how that person actually creates great communication. So do it. And this is where the problem happens, when we try to do something else my colleague is doing. My colleague goes and travels 25 days in a month, and that's how he gets targets achieved. I can't, but I follow my company's norm of traveling for, say, 8 days. I do it. But then I can't go 25 days. So, let me quit the job because I can't travel 25 days. No, if your mandate is 8 days, if you're doing it and your strength is helping you to achieve the end benefit for the company, you don't have to quit. Be empowered with your strength and not feel weakened by something that either you can't do as a personality or as a gender. So we can have various taglines for us. I mean, from positioning, we always say comes tagline. So tagline could be, somebody could be, a team builder, while keeping this question in mind that what my customers really want. Somebody might be insight miner, somebody can be data devil, somebody could be, this is getting repeated here, but okay, someone is stress buster, someone could be fix it, somebody could be customer relationship master. I mean, multiple propositions. We all are unique. We all have different strengths, and therefore we can offer very different, brand value, or the promise that we can give is very different. And that's how we become unique. And instead of competing with others and trying to be a gender that we are not, and therefore either changing ourselves completely at the discomfort of self, or simply quitting is not the option. Build the brand, know your value, know your strength, and stand strong. And when we'll see so many women in the work, we'll find that the corporates are built for women. They are designed in a very different way for women. So here is a very cute picture. All of you might have seen it. But if this is equality, where one small kid is not being able to see the match, you give something extra, and that's how they see. But then that is not something I'm really comfortable with. Women gender getting quotas, women getting, oh no, we must have one woman here and there. Oh no, that's not we want. We don't want this extra stool. What we want is this kind of scenario where genders perform equally well. People with different backgrounds perform equally well, because the design has changed, because the way people work together has changed, and that's what we should aim at. And that's how we'll see more and more women coming into the working for it. So quickly, 10 steps, as I always say, I'm just putting 5 steps here. Is, understand your strength, focus on them, keep them sharpened, learn skills, attend courses, add to yourself around that skill so that you sharpen it better. Don't compete by copying, create your own space. Stay aligned to customers' goal, which might be your organization, and communicate your value at the right occasions. Don't do this that, sit in your shell and not world knowing about it. Go out, let the world know. So thank you very much. Always, open to discussion, staying connected and understanding more about this.
Okay, so, thank you so much, Gauri ma'am. That was really interesting, the slide on equality, equity, and justice, and the way you told about building your own brand, be it a man or woman. Everyone, for that matter, has to build his or her own brand, but the way the structure has to change so that everyone gets the justice. Not talking about equity or equality. The structure changed completely in that photograph, and that was really beautiful to understand the perspective. The forum is open for discussions, and anyone having any sort of question, especially inviting women to share their interest, questions, journey, if you want to discuss something here, even men for that matter.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to interact,
I'm so happy to answer this question, which comes from 𝐁𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐻𝐿, sir. I mean, he is a veteran and he has seen this industry so well. He says, what is percentage of medical reps today? How many women are in that? And, his guess is less than 10%, and he's spot on. I mean, I know he's the person who actually went extra mile to include women in the teams and also in sales and marketing. And despite, such veterans doing such great job, we see actually still very less number of women. So he says his guess is less than 10%, and I'm sure bang on, because, today we are talking about 5% women in India in sales and marketing. So I'm sure it's much, much lesser number in sales particularly.
Yeah, the job is designed like you have to go on field and all those things. So I think the structure, and I believe that digital being a very important support in any strategy, this can easily quick fix this problem of less women in sales and marketing roles. So that's just my opinion, just my viewpoint, but I
right. That's absolutely right. But having said that, even carrying a bag and going in a market, I think women can do it better. It's just that there are times when they require some kind of help. For example, when you're working for several hours, is there some problem with okay, when you're working several hours? I mean, I was talking to some of the doctors, and what doctors said, that particularly in metro cities, because of the distances, people can't have proper lunch break. So I provide my room, particularly for women sales representative, that they can sit, I open my clinic, they can sit there, they can have food, and they can go. These kind of little things, which are so difficult for, women otherwise, becomes extremely critical. So someone has to provide. So when we design a world for women, for a gender like this, and we understand their small little problems and create solutions, and not look at it as a burden that, oh my God, now because I have a woman in a team, I have to do this. Remember 50% formula, that if you have good number of women in your team, you're going to achieve your sales target a lot better. So include them. If they want one, talk to them. If they're so when a woman leaves sales job, it makes absolute sense to understand from her why. I mean, I know there was a time when a particular woman could not carry those huge bags in the sales, because the way gifts were designed for a month was so heavy. Now, nobody really thought that when she has to carry that heavy weight and give it to doctors, it might be a problem for her, because you're traveling constantly. In a day, you have to carry at least 3 or 4 because, your core doctor might be 3 or 4. So thinking about it and including them is extremely critical for, it just, so designing world, that's what I mean when I say design a world, keeping them in mind. That's critical. And that will happen when we'll have good number. Nobody's going to change design just because we have one person or one woman in the team.
Yeah. So Ms. Sharmila, I think she wants to interact, Gauri ma'am. Please.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am, for this session first. I joined in mid only, but actually I would like to have some guidance from you. At present, I'm in company in the marketing team in product management, and I'm the only woman. And suddenly before lockdown, the Women's Day was there. That time it was celebrated and all. Then seniors came in and all. And then finally a decision was just they were having celebration that, oh, this woman is that we have finance woman head, we have other department, some heads in women. But then they said, oh, marketing, we will not have a woman. So now I am stuck, ma'am. So what would you suggest? Because at present, because of this lockdown situation and all, getting opportunities outside, at higher level is really difficult. So can you guide me on this, please?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, reach out. I mean, if your organization is saying no to women, first and foremost, having open discussion, understanding. See, that question, it sounds very simple, but what is it your organization really wants? And how through your strengths you can give it is the key. You have to have that discussion with them. And if they are saying no to a job, believe me, Sharmila, there are enough organization outside. Sharpen your skills, sharpen your strengths in a manner that there's no chance that other organization will not take you on. Okay. So my answer is that don't be apologetic. If someone has rejected saying that we don't want women, believe me, it's their loss. Genuinely, it's their loss. So have a discussion and put forward your strengths once again. And still, if they are not open to it, go out. Go out. Think of changing. I mean, Pharma is just not pharma, marketing, sales, products. Pharma has opened up a lot. Okay. So we have so many different sectors within pharma. See where your strengths match the best. Okay. And try it, and all the best. I'm sure, someday I will hear your lecture on a Women's Day.
Thank you very much. And I require all of your blessings. Today is my birthday.
Oh, wonderful. Wow. Happy birthday, Ms. Sharmila.
Happy birthday, Sharmila. Happy birthday.
Yeah. Great. And build your brand. That is what we are taking. And if organizations, and especially women and men for that matter, if you're not building your brand, you are missing out. The organization is missing out on not choosing a woman. The woman is missing out not creating her brand. And same goes for the men. I know another very strong leader organization, Christina ma'am. Christina ma'am, you have been there. Would love to hear your perspective on this topic. She's there. We cannot hear you, Christina ma'am. Okay, there could be some audio issue.
Now?
Hello. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. Thanks, Ms. Gauri. That was awesome. I had 2 points to convey to the forum. The first one is, this may be a request also to all the women heads on the top. Actually, branding women as such is one thing, but helping the women in the bottom to come up, women should accept that first in the top. Because most of the time what happens is, women leaders in the top think that the sufferings that we have undergone, when we were a brand manager or a medical representative, how another woman will face that. That is one point that generally they think of. But I think Ms. Gauri has brought it so well that women have to reach out. And while reaching out, women in the top also should lend their hands so that women build women. That should be more important. Another thing is, I was very happy to see the estrogen and the testosterone model of mindset and the skill set. Because the estrogen, I think most of the women now also have hormonal imbalance. I was just thinking there would be a lot of mismatch in this. Today we see a lot of women conquering, the stage for themselves. I think that's very nice. And thanks. That was a lovely session.
Right. Yeah, I would just like to add, you've said it so beautifully, actually. This is one point we discuss a lot. Like, I have spent enough time in advertising and we understand women. So what we used to do, we used to have every year something called women mood. Why women are important? Because every brand you're promoting out there in the consumer good industry, you're promoting it to women. So you have to understand women. So we used to do it every year. And what I realized in that women were saying that if I have to succeed, I have to become like a man, and it comes very subtly. Simple things like every generation had decade after decade. So we did it for 4 continuous decades, and we see how women change their attire. Putting bindi in a company was not seen as a good thing, which was seen more feminine, and it was not seen more professional. And I'm talking about the woman mood that we did. And then we saw a generation coming again, women putting it as a fashion, and they're putting it and saying that I wear my gender on my sleeves. Okay, so women are coming out, and so the one message that some top leaders did, that you don't have to change yourself to become someone else. Be comfortable within your skin, or be comfortable with your soft skill. And therefore I constantly kept saying, don't the disclaimer is that women conquer. Of course they conquer, and they conquer a lot better. Women are supposed to be a very good negotiator today, which was not attributed to them, but all of that we are. The point is that understand our strengths, and not only as a gender but as a person at a personal level. So thanks for bringing that point out.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Madam, I just wanted to share one personal experience, because I am into international marketing. The percentage of medical representative, lady woman representative, I think we are discussing in context of Indian market, Indian business. But when I was in Myanmar, when I went there for the first time, I saw 50 medical representatives were waiting in a queue to make a call of very important doctor. And out of those 50 medical representatives, I think 45 might be lady medical representatives. So it depends country to country also. And what percentage, I think we are talking about 11% into the industry. That changes as per the country also, because I think in Myanmar, ladies are the bread earners also. So that is only my observation I just wanted to share. Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. I think that's very good insight. In fact, it's so heartening to know that out of 50, 45 women were there, So thanks for sharing.
Yeah, in Myanmar, ma'am, there are many social things also that are affecting these percentages. So there is a woman dominated. So the point here basically pertains to building your own brand, men or women. That percentage we showed was pointing towards the fallout from colleges to industry. Why that fallout is happening here? So thank you for adding it, and we are really happy to know.
Simple things like, a lady medical representative in India finds it so difficult to get a toilet, a clean, nice toilet. That's a problem. How many of the organizations have actually handled or tried to give an answer to it? There are multiple problems. So when women brand come out and say that, look, we can bring this to your table, I'm sure, and of course, while we bring it to table, these are our problems. This is how we want to resolve. And as we see more and more women coming in, they will see to it that little hurdles are resolved. And that's how we'll create a world where women are easily accommodated in a corporate culture.
Yeah, that point you really...
Yeah. So sorry, Swati, I'm just adding one more point. I'm saying that if one woman is deciding to leave a corporate world organization, she should just think that instead of me quitting right now, can I bring one more woman in the team so that my problems are sorted? At the same time, we create a world which is more balanced.
Yeah. One question has come from Mr. Ujjwal Datta. How a lady communicator in a pharma organization is superior to a man inside a doctor's chamber? How a lady communicator in a pharma organization is superior to a man inside a doctor's chamber?
So, well, I'm not saying superior or inferior. Both the genders in that sense are in their own ways are superior. The only difference that, the researchers are saying that estrogen-driven skill set has better verbal communication ability. And if you think that that particular skill set a woman has, the woman candidate who has come has it, then it makes immense sense to get her onboarded, because chances are she will have it. And if she has it, she will add a lot of value. But that doesn't mean she would be a superior salesperson over a man. Your one is saying that have a balanced team, have a team with diversity, and let that diversity not be forced. Let it not be there saying that, oh, my office has a diversity rule, so I have to take 3 women and I have to live with them. It shouldn't be that. When brand women gets built, with all of us come out with our strength, the world will be of equals and not of superior and inferiors. And that's my little perspective on it.
Yeah, thank you very much. And Mr. Ujjwal, you can also connect and ask if this question is answered.
If I've not answered this question correctly, I mean, open to connect with you anywhere, or all the social platforms, anywhere, we can discuss.
So, and if there are, any questions or any deliberations you would love to have here?
Yeah, Gauri ma'am, I have one, comment, or I can ask, say that it is a question. Basically, what I want to say that you explained that the woman is having those skill sets, like skills, not that typical, beautiful, different kind of emotion handling skills, and going, deep down into the things and finding the base of that thing instead of taking an instant decision the way males look. But I feel that sometimes it is also there that women itself, they don't realize that kind of DNA based inborn thing is there inside me, and I should realize that potential and then use it in my professional career. That I have also seen. Sometimes it need to be realized first, and then the proper nourishment to that thing, that nurturing need to be done, and then it should be presented very professionally. So I think that one thing is also a problem that is lying, where our curriculum in the colleges and schools are not like that, where we really identify our strengths or the hidden potential. So what's your view on that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's where these discussions should continue happening. That's where we should understand that women do bring certain skill set, which is so unique to them. Actually, incidentally, we have Dr. 𝐁𝐿𝐴𝐺 here. So, sir, your experience, I think you started, an equal number of women coming into workforce. So what was your experience and how did you handle that part?
Dr. 𝐁𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐿𝐴𝐺, please unmute. We need your inputs here today.
Have we?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Wanting to hear your view.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, see, that was heading Johnson & Johnson in India. You know, we had an international policy that if for a job, if there are two candidates, one male and one female, and everything is equal, the priority should be given to female. And that's what we followed every time. Then once my American boss insisted that I should have lady medical reps. So I discussed this problem with this challenge with my medical and marketing and sales people. And majority of them said that, sir, Indian parents don't like their daughters moving around in the evening and making doctors call. I said, this is a perception. I don't know whether this is a reality, because when I go out in the evening, I find several young ladies moving around in cafes and in cinema houses and malls. So and their parents are not with them. So what is the problem? So I said, let's do an experiment. Which region has maximum vacancies today? And one fellow said, Delhi, we have 3 vacancies. And I said, when you advertise, you write women preferred and see what happens. We were flooded with lady representative applications for lady medical representatives. We decided to hire all of them. And believe me, all of them were always 100% on the target, because they stuck to the plan. They stuck to the marketing strategy, did not waste time in drinking beer or smoking in the evening with their friends. And they were always 100% on target. And that encouraged my entire team, whenever there's an opportunity, to hire women, rather than if everything is equal, hire women. And that was also became international policy. That was my view.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I think this is an insight, and how, beautifully, like you said, that they were 100% on target. And thanks to, the author, John, of that book, who says that estrogen skill set is about sincerity. And probably that got displaced. That came out so beautifully, displayed so beautifully, in your experience. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Dangi. Always, pleasure hearing to such wonderful experiences.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ajit Dangi, for sharing this with us. This will give more and more impetus to women, and especially men and those heading the organization, to think on the structure part of design, how you are designing your organizations, what problems you are solving for your internal customers. Women employees are your internal customers. If you are doing something to redesign the structure, that will obviously bring in more revenues, more sales, and more output. A balanced team is what is required everywhere, for that matter. So I think, ma'am, we have came to the close.
Can I add, Swati madam, something?
Sure, please do.
I just want to say 2 or 3 points on this topic. Just couldn't stop myself. It's such an interesting topic.
Can you introduce yourself?
Swati madam has wonderfully, explained this position of women and what should be there in the pharma industry. Just my few points I want to say, that there is called brand. You say it's brand woman. So the brand goes with the brand image. So first of all, a woman should understand what is a self-image. Whether it's a man-given image of a Saraswati or a Durga, or a Savitri Bai Phule image of an educated woman.
Wonderful.
Most of the women, they don't know. They know all the goddesses they have been projected, but they don't know the first education school was built by a woman, Savitri Bai Phule. One thing. Second thing, there is a very common saying in Israel, because I'm very fond of Israel country. They say nobody makes peace with weak. Peace always starts with strength. So if a woman has to find peace in the working place, she has to work on strength, which you rightly pointed out, that a woman should focus on her strength, because if you have strength, then only you will have peace with the people, right? Otherwise, this comparison and this discrimination will always be there. Another example I quote, that we say pharma is in healthcare sector. So it's itself says self-explanatory that caring goes more with women. A woman can care better than anything else. So if it is in healthcare, so women already have the dominance there, because caring goes more with a woman. So women are more specialist in caring. So that confidence should always be there in a woman, that wherever there is a caring, woman will have an upper edge. And that confidence she need to maintain, especially in pharma industry. One episode that women and all women, I think I always reinforce, should be grateful of episode World War. I think the fate of women in the modern world changed with World War. You know why Germany was defeated? Not because they were men fighting, because on the back end, in the British, in the Russian armies, in the Russian factories, women were working. In American factories, women were working, but Germans didn't allow their women to work in factories, so they fell short of men on the front. And that's how the basic reason that Germany lost the World War. Because if you don't keep women in parallel, if you don't give her opportunity, and that's an episode where women proved that she is equally good in factories, equally good at workplace. So if you quote workplace examples, there can never be a better example of World War, wherein women took tools from the hand of men. They substituted men in the factories so that men can go out and fight in the war. And that's what happened. America won, Britain won, Russia won, because their women were working parallelly man to man. And Germany lost because women were not working in the factories. They were controlled. And recently, and one last thing I want to say, that women should share more examples by affirmations. The more you talk of such examples, I asked 10 girls, I'm just quoting one example. I asked 10 girls, do you know who created first school for women in India? All 10 were blank. They are so happy in their images of, being goddesses, and they are being worshipped on Navratris and all these things. Okay, fine. They know about Kalpana Chawla. They know about Indra Nooyi. They know about Sania Nehwal. But education is the deciding factor. And the right education basis, I think that is one area where we need to work. We need to share more relevant examples. So everything starts with example.
Mr. Santosh, I would add here, when you say education, I would rather change the word to skill sets. Your skill, absolutely. Your strength.
Absolutely. Skill is your own. Education is given to all.
Yeah, that is for men also, women also.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's it. Just I want to say these things. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh, for your viewpoint.
I mean, in fact, Swati, last point is that in this country, like he says, image is so critical for a brand. And in this country, we have either Devis or Dasis. So women get caught into two buckets. If you're not Devi, then you're Dasi, and women has to say, look, I'm not neither of this. I am there. I am equal. I am just like you with my own set of strengths. So that's where it all becomes,
Yesterday, I went with my I have 3 maids at home, and I went with my son, and I saw that movie Gangu by Kathiawad. There's a new movie by Sanjay Leela Bhansali. And my maid were so happy seeing that movie, because I always, take them along. So they were feeling so confident about it, right? That how a woman can be bold. So that's what I tell them. You need to take decision in home. When I'm not there, take decisions. If there some guest is there or somebody is there, you decide. So this small affirmation, some small examples, we need to be circulating more and more. Woman is equal. See, we are born of man and woman. So that defines by destiny, 50% is equality. So that is undebatable. So that is always there.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh, for the inputs. And we'll keep discussing these points and emphasizing on skill set building, brand woman building, brand men also. So in our coming series. So stay with us. We'll keep you updated on these discussions which are right for you. So it's whether it's a Women's Day or a Men's Day, we are going to bring in the right discussions for you. Thank you for joining in and staying with us and participating in the this session also. Thank you, Gauri ma'am. Anything you want to say?
My pleasure, Swati. Wonderful discussion. May the discussion continue throughout the year.
Yeah, this shall continue, and we will bring more sessions where more participation and more topics will be touched related to building brand women in pharma. And thank you to all for joining on this Saturday, and stay connected with us. Build up your skill sets, build on your strengths.
Yes, and before we end, a request, I am posting a link to the form, feedback form. There we also have the last point, that what else you would like to have on these discussion forums. So please provide your inputs there so that we bring those sessions related to brand building related to women in pharma.
Sure. So that has been posted in chat. That will be posted in the WhatsApp group also. And please interact through that feedback form, and we will bring more. Thank you, Zenith. Kudos to Women in Pharma. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Dangi, for your inputs. May we grow and prosper ourselves and our organizations. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Have a great day ahead. We are ending the session now.
Thank you.